You've been investing, working with more founders, entrepreneurs around the world. And I want to just stop for a second and ask the question of one, what are you seeing there? What excites you there? And then I think just for people that maybe don't spend as much time focused outside of the US as inside of the US, just share a little bit of what that perspective gives you, what it shows you about the world and about founders around the world.
Yeah, and to be honest, till March of 2020, 95% of my investments were in the US. As soon as Zoom happened, COVID happened, literally the whole world opened up. And didn't matter whether the founder was saying in Bogota, Colombia, or Jakarta, Indonesia, or Bangalore, India, or New York. They all were essentially the same at that point. And what I realized was two things. One, founders across the world, just because of the rise of internet and just information dissemination, they're just as hungry, just as now, I would say, aggressive, like visionary, and they work just as hard as the best founders in the US. The best founders across the world now are at par with the best founders in the US. Second, the market opportunity, I would say, in the US, there's tons of companies being started. I think still the number of companies per capita is much lower in these countries. So each company has a much bigger opportunity to win. In other words, for example, if you look at all of Latin America, there's 800 million people across these countries. Similarly, India has 1.1 billion people. In Southeast Asia, Indonesia itself has 300 million people, or more than 300 million. So each of these regions is massive, but the number of companies attacking these problems are much smaller. So, and I think coming from the US, I think folks who are in the US, you don't know how much they value your lessons, your experience, etc. It's incredible. So competing with like thousands of investors and advisors to get attention of a Valley company versus they're hungry. They reach out. They're much easier to kind of, I would say, get time with because they want that time. So I think there's a lot of benefits to working there. It takes you back to simpler times. I mean, they're just focused on also the Maslow's hierarchy. There's many basic in the US. I think many of the infrastructural challenges have been generally solved. I think many of the companies are doing more self-actualization kind of things, you would say. But in most of these countries, basic fundamental infrastructure things are being catered. So you also feel like you're truly having impact on the lives of people in foundational ways, much more so than in the US. That said, I mean, the US is still the epicenter, but these regions together, I think 50, I almost say that if you're an investor, you probably do 50% the US, 50% rest of the world.